I think that there's one portion of the CNN town hall with Donald Trump that goes beyond just the individual politics of the night. By the way, very obvious to tell while watching this town hall that she is, single without children. So here we have Donald Trump saying that, he was, working on building wall. And then he was like, they finished what they were planning on doing. And he was like, okay, we need to build another 100 miles of wall. Now, let's see how Kaitlan Collins tries to put a spin on this. And it shows off a very interesting rhetorical trick that's used for manipulation.
A country has to have borders. There's never been anything like is happening to our country right now.
You built about 52 miles of new wall when you were in office, Mr. President. It wasn't the complete wall. One other thing that with immigration...
No, but I have to respond to that.
With your immigration, it was only about 52 miles of new wall.
This is what she does. I built hundreds of miles. Some of the wall was up there, and it would be laying on the ground, rusted, rotten steel, rusted, rotten wood, and what the radical left crazy Democrats did, if there's a piece of wood laying down, they consider that a wall. I built 30-foot walls that go down 7 feet into the ground. If there was a little piece of wood sitting in the ground, they said, oh, he's not building a wall. We already had a wall. Because this is the game. They're a party of disinformation.
It's not a game, Mr. President. It's about 52 miles of new wall. One other immigration policy you had when you were in office.
So here it is. Actually, I'll actually let the rest of this play.
Built new wall
52 miles
for hundreds of miles.
CBP, Mr.
What I
President.
did is I replaced other wall that was laying down, that was up and rotting in the ground for 30 years. Some of it was steel that you couldn't even see.
Mr. President, it was only about 52 miles of new wall. But moving on, another immigration policy you had was the zero.
So here we have Kaitlan Collins basically trying to mislead the audience into thinking that Donald Trump only built 52 miles of wall. And this is actually a rather interesting example of framing that, you hear about the media doing it from time to time, but frankly, I don't watch enough of the media to really see this in action, but this was a wonderful example of this. So the Trump administration did construct hundreds of miles of border wall, but most of that was repairing existing wall. Now, does this mean that Trump only built like 52 miles of wall? No, he built hundreds of miles of wall. And I think, here's a question, about being relevant, right? Like, does it matter whether or not, Trump repaired existing wall? I think that probably does matter to some people. So why does Kaitlan Collins want the viewers to think that he only built 52 miles of wall? Well, it's because it makes Trump look bad because, he's talking about building hundreds of miles of wall and he only built 52. It was rather deceptive, but it's just one great example of framing that the media often does to try to deceive the viewers. It's kind of unfortunate that she decided to do that. It ended up being a very unnecessary argument. They didn't need to argue about how much of the wall that Trump constructed was new wall versus old wall. I don't know how many people cared about how many miles of new wall that Trump did, but what she's trying to do is make it seem like that's all he did when really he did a lot more. So very unfortunate, very dishonest. Although I don't know what more we expected from CNN.